She went to a trip to Miami, Mayaka, Orlando, Palm Beach, see it all. The boat, the jet attraction, etc. We planned a ton of stuff to do. We are going to do in these 3 weeks. He never smiled or said hello to her. He wouldn't let her be with me in a room, but made her stay on a sofa. After we came back from Miami, he never came back from work. His truck either. I figured he was playing a game once again. I let it go, but after 6 hours, I started to wonder. So I asked the brother, called his job, etc. No one saw him or heard of him. That started to sound real. Maybe something did happen. I went everywhere, drove my friend to every place he could have been, called everyone he knew. I even called the police station. Now it had been 48 hours, and he had been missing. I was in tears and figured maybe he killed himself of jealousy, knowing his insecurity for me, because I was ignoring him. I knew how much he hated my new girlfriend. No news, and we were going to the third day. My friend was trying to comfort me, and she had to postpone her vacation to help me. We were miserable. I had to make a police report, and so on. Then when I got back from the police station, I saw his truck, and he was lying on a sofa with blood on his face and mark on his legs. He told me that he had been beaten up by a gang band by the river walk, and that they captured him and left him there in the middle of the night and stole his wallet and his phone in the process. I was so happy to see him. I thought he was dead, so I listened to every word he had to say and even had to ignore my poor friend. The next morning, he still tried to keep me from going to the beach with her. The next morning, still trying to keep me from going to the beach with her. So he came with us, and again made himself disappear. So we looked for him to an hour, but in between, I went to his truck. He had left his key on his towel, and found his wallet and his phone, and realized that he had made the whole thing up. I started to look for him and worry again. I was disgusted. My friend helped me to move out, and I went to my brother and never came out for 3 weeks. I set up a mattress in his closet because there were no extra bedroom, and I hoped to never see him again. I started to write about it in my novel, Roman chapter book. Hey, by the way, this is when I wrote this story in 2000. Pray to God he will not kill me. For the first time ever, he left me alone for 3 full weeks. I'm alive again, but no. After that, he followed me for another full year. Days and nights, begged me to go out, tried to buy me off with money, sat on or under my car, blocked me to drive off my parking spot. I found him in my new apartment. One day, he had found a way to make a double of my keys. He hid in a closet after I was in for hours, an evening, and he jumped out of it. When I asked him to stop, he'd say, "I'll kill you and your family. You do as I say, and if you ever date anyone, I will cut your throat." Reading this now, I realize how naive I was to take his threat seriously or even think that he respected me. I would have ended the circus long ago. I felt bad for him. I imagined he was so alone, so desperate, so obsessed to be with me, that he had uncontrollable behaviors that were not preventable. I felt being spied on 24/7 from my job, my place, my school, my work, my every move. I was going to a massage school now, and he'd be waiting on me after this end of the day, making sure I wouldn't date anyone. And it works hard for him, because I dated none for 1 entire year and 5 months. Too afraid of what he will do, and how I would end up if I did. I was learning to never look at a man and turn my head away like a slave woman. I keep hearing him in my head saying, "You're a whore. You'll flirt with everybody. You can't stop. All you want is sucking dicks." Sorry for this non-PG-13, but I am repeating words for words here so you can picture yourself there with me. Now I was convinced I was a dirty whore, and I should force myself not to look at any man's body shape or eyes. But one day, I went out, dancing. I needed a break from him and all his accusations. Isaiah wasn't around, and I met a guy, very sweet and charming. We go back to my place, and who do we find on my sofa? Him, of course. So we tried this easy way at first to ask him to leave, but he wanted a physical fight, a boxing fight. Mano to mano with my date, and started to punch him right in the face. So I said, okay, let's go. And we left him in my place. Since he wouldn't get out, he had that cold, hysteric, psycho look in his eyes. A very dark, freaky look. We drove off. We crossed a police car. When my new friend asked me to stop and lay my window down, and yelled at the cops, "We have been harassed and there is an intruder in her place who is violent and aggressive and wouldn't get out." We came back with the 2 policemen. He had magically disappeared. After all this time, all I needed to do was call the police. I never knew that he would finally stop following me everywhere if I did. I sound very stupid, I know. But when you think you love someone or are totally compassionate towards this other person, you imagine that they are capable of doing the right things with the right guidance. But my little French life background, culture and experiences was very far from the one of a Guatemalan raised in a third country and moved in this US at age 12 with a 3rd grade education and no family around him to guide him. I had invested my time becoming his reading, writing, educative guru teacher, trying to make an impact in his life. It's a little wanting to see miracle happen. But after that day, he left me alone for good. Never truly appreciate all I did for him, and never said sorry either. I still had to go get a restraining order, and a few years later, he found a way to see me again at the mall, with his flowers and a fake gift. But those times were closure, and I never saw him again. I was free. His name, by the way, if you wonder, is Isaiah Ramos. He was around 4 years older than me, and I believe in return to Guatemala long ago. Chapter 2. Inspirational and adventure stories. Spread your wings to the world. I'll spread my inspiration to you. Together, we will write on the walls of freedom. Together, we will write again, but this time, we will write for the glory of tomorrow. December 18, 2016. I was surfing the net on Twitter when I checked this radio host who invited me to take part of his late night show to talk about UFO. He's a big UFO researcher. I was like, okay, not my thing, but I would do about anything to be on this air and promote my adventure. So why in the hell not? And I am drinking and laughing like no tomorrow. But I was in a very sick stage of my life, to tell you the truth. I was co-hosting this last night hilarious, sexy Canadian, so much fun. July 9, 2017. My spatial cosmetic acrylic on canvas. The thought behind this is traveling through wild space horizon can open many enlightening doors. Description of my comeback in a writing world. I abandoned this book project a while ago without realizing how crucial this was to my existence and life experience. Having this group is a way for me to write and talk about the years I spent writing before I got lost in my soul and couldn't write from the art but only through prose and art. I was only 12 when I decided to keep daily journal of my escapade. I use writing as a self-experience, discovery journal towards human behaviors and people life, stories of all backgrounds, but I would include the fun discovery along the way and all the dramatic or nostalgic episodes I came across. Writing was for me a hope that the more I find out about humans and the world, the more knowledgeable I would become and I would be able to live to the fullest. Hopefully, let's cross fingers together. Yeah! I never intended my thoughts for knowledge and exploration to turn into a grave of profound misery for others to assemble me into categories. I was humble and compassionate towards my fellow earth-living beings. I wanted to share my love to everyone until one day my kindness was taken for granted too many times. I struggled to fight for my causes, my ideas, my belief of a world filled with human rights beyond its rights. I believe in being free. I believe in old-fashioned ways to live by. I believed in the greatest wishes could be granted by believing in the power of positiveness. I believed in good in all of us, and I dreamed that day I'll reach old age. I will be publishing the greatest story told of compassion, love, bravery, courage, example, experiences, not to win an award, but because my materials were deep and extreme and at times chaotic. I listened to negative voices telling me I wasn't a writer and I was wasting time, but I wasn't wasting time. I was forming a great life bundle for my future with everything I lived and experienced. I'm using all this to create my dream legacy and life purpose. Dream to be complete into a self-realization coming into reality. It's never too late to be the best version of you. Be the best you can be. Poem. A little poem for the veteran I made in 2017 in my writing group. Valor the party of diplomatic senior and combatants. Expand the fairness value of our intrepid warriors. Salute the sacrifice then due, and raise the flags on their honors. Advise and warn rank raging against us, and pray for forming foreign peace among all. Independence and freedoms for everyone. Multiple stories. A chase pursuit in the dark in 2012. I'm going to write a story I named The Scary Chase Pursuit of the Night, an actual event who happened to me while driving through A's. I was extremely tired and drove over 1,000 miles without stopping, but to me while driving through AZ. I was extremely tired and drove over 1,000 miles without stopping, but once for gasoline. When decided to keep going, I had no idea this was going to be my last gas station for the other 200 miles. I tried to stay awake and drove at a normal speed. There were no cars, but big construction trucks driving along and usually passing me by very quickly. I was so sleepy. I decided to make a stop on the next rest areas and try to get some sleep. I tried to rest, but it was near 1 a.m. and it was getting very deserted and very narrow pit. And some guy was sitting in his car not far from me, and I was afraid of falling asleep. So I put on my DVD player on and kept inspecting my black mirrors in case some creep would decide to jump me. But even though I was secure and locked in, I was terrified. So I decided to leave, but my mental energy was so drained, it was hard to drive. I told myself, just drive to the next rest areas. It might be more secure, with possibly some night guard and lights, but there weren't any at all. So I kept going, and every 30 minutes, a car by side would jam my direction. So I kept going, and every 30 minutes, a car by side would share my direction. This road was known to be fulfilled with coyotes and snakes, not this great outdoor place to sleep at. Suddenly, 2 coyotes crossed the road, and some bugs decided to enter my window. I had to brake sharply. It was pretty instant scare. I deviated on the side, but I was fine, so just drove slowly. When I had to pee so bad, I stopped really quick, thinking there should be no one around as I walked by to my car. I see a huge guy holding a bag, speeding my way. I got in and accelerated. Now I was down to other 100 miles towards the next gas station. And finished, I had filled up my tank on my last filling, but the gallon price was so high, so I only filled it partially, and really regretted that later. A few minutes later, I noticed a car behind me for about 20 minutes, but it seems they were getting closer and closer to me, and my speed remained the same. So I figured they eventually would want to pass me, but they started to even get right behind me. It behind further at any point of time. I decided to really slow down to see if they would go, but they accelerated. That's when I realized I might be in danger, and they bumped my back and pressed on the accelerator with aggressively. I was able to see 2 weird-looking old people that I recognized from back to my prior rest stop. Now I knew they had followed me for a while. I had no choice but to speed up and pray that I would get out of this deserted road in middle of the night. It was almost 3 a.m. and no phone signal. It was almost 3 a.m. and no phone signal or habitat population nearby. I was driving a white Crown Victoria police car at least. Nice ride, who did save me a lot of trouble, and it was a really good